CR125 build. It's part 4, and today we're going to dive into that engine. Finally, we're going to check out the top end, we're going to check out that clutch side, check out the clutch, check out the Kickstarter assembly, figure out what parts we need to replace. I'd love to do a full engine rebuild on this thing, but I don't think this needs it, and at this point it'd just be a waste of money. So before we just go ahead and rebuild the whole thing, we're gonna look into it, make sure that we don't need to replace anything else, and fingers crossed that we don't have any other issues. Let's get to it. So here it is, our power plant. We got some janky stuff going on. So I cleaned just a little bit of the dirt off here and there, but it's still pretty gunky. Our major issue is right here. This guy. There must be cracks around the Kickstarter housing here, so most likely we'll have to replace that. I'll try and get all this JB weld off. I don't know how well that's gonna work, but I'll just see if I can see some cracks on the inside, or maybe they pulled this apart and got in there and JB welded the inside too, so we'll have to see about that. Before we tear this apart, go down in the description, Wild Moto Instagram, check it out. Tons of cool moto content, snow, street, dirt, all that good stuff. And then down below that, plenty of links for a bunch of different kits that I use for filming, tearing apart dirt bikes, cleaning dirt bikes, maintaining dirt bikes, all that good stuff. So check it out. So I'll start off by saying this is not a how-to. This is just me tearing apart a dirt bike engine. So if you want to watch for your enjoyment, that's awesome. If I do something wrong, point it out in the comments, let me know. So, might as well go ahead. Nice, rusty studs. So up at the top here, just a little discoloration, nothing crazy. It doesn't appear there's any type of detonation or anything crazy going on. Last bolt we need to get to is inside the power valve. One thing I noticed is that this bolt right here, we'll see how it comes out, but is in there all crooked. So oh yeah. That thing is coming out so crooked. Doesn't look to be broken, just bent. A nice curve to it. Give her the old rubber hammer treatment. Crusty. These little guys are gonna need some new gaskets anyway. And the carbon buildup on the inside of there, it's like a black hole in there. This one came off nice and easy. So next, get this rest of this off, is the pin there that holds on the power valve linkage. So be sure when you pop that off, you've got one little tiny washer right there. So you can kind of pinch it, grab that. Oh, never mind. If you want, you can take it off, but it's actually inset in there. So it's probably best to take it off so you know where it's at. Go. Lift that sucker off. Piston looks pretty good. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but anyway, up and down movement, nothing. So crank is strong and it looks super clean in there. I'll try and do my best here to get a good view. Oh, that might blow it out a bit. I don't know if you're able to see very well inside of the cylinder there, but no major marks. The exhaust bridge looks to be in good shape. Looks like quite a bit of buildup on freaking power valve. It still moves and everything, but there's a lot of buildup down in there. So try again here. See if you can see it a little bit better. Decent angle. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it'll work. I think I may as well just go ahead and pop the piston off. Pop that circlip out. I mean, that thing looks pretty dang fresh to me. This thing, it might even be more fresh than he said it was. That's how good this thing looks. Wonder if I should replace this piston or not. For now, I think I'm just gonna leave this guy off, and we'll make that decision later. No V-force reads. They look pretty damn new. Alright, now we can go ahead and remove the bolts and the springs for the pressure plate. Pressure plate off, and then we can go ahead and remove our clutch plates. Next, the old clutch push rod can come all the way out. Set that aside, and then we need to get this nut off. Most likely, you'll have your tab peened, I guess you could say, on each side there. So if you got a nice screwdriver here. So normally, when you unpeen that, I guess you could call it, this nut is usually on pretty tight. Mine, I can spin it with my finger. So a good way to get that nut free, you can either like wrap or jam a towel in here to hold the clutch basket while you get that nut off, or there's also this little guy right here, Tusk clutch holder, and basically you want to insert it in the square grooves right there, so each side kind of in the square. Let me get this here, you know, just like that, so you're able to hold on to it, and then you're able to loosen that up. But I won't be needing that, so we'll be sure to torque that down once we put it back together. So there's that guy, and then the last piece, which can get stuck on here, is this washer. You don't want to lose that guy. So when you go to remove this, there's a couple washers in there that you don't want to lose. They can get hung up and kind of stick to different spots. So this one, it's hanging out on the back. Just be sure you know where that's at. And then this guy. But yeah, on this, you've got your bearing attached there, and then that's the last washer associated with that. So just be sure to keep everything together and make sure that you don't lose any type of washer, because that can cause some bad news. So I was able to drain the rest of the oil out of there. Nothing concerning hanging out in the bottom of the engine there. Nothing that came out with with all the oil, so that's good. Next, we're gonna take the old water pump, coolant pump, whatever you want to call it. The only thing you need to worry about this here is a little copper washer at the end. If you do not, if you lose that little guy, you don't put it in, your water pump is just gonna freaking wear out so fast. One other thing I forgot to say is that the crank here, it is a Wiseco, so that's what the dude said he put in it. And like I said, everything is looking really fresh. You know, despite what the outside looks like, everything on the inside is looking great. I'm just gonna have to clean up a lot of this stuff here. So now, take off this inner clutch case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts, and then we're gonna be really careful taking off the Kickstarter assembly because I mean, it'll fall apart on its own, but the way that it was operating, there might be some broken stuff. We don't want to lose any little bit down in the bottom, just in case. So, you can do that. Just leave Kickstarter assembly right there. Ah, man, JB Weld King's got a hold of this case. So, what the heck is going on with this Kickstarter here? Obviously something. Oh, that spring was kind of in no man's land. Alright, so this should all be a part of your Kickstarter assembly. That guy, gear, and then on the back side, just be sure you got all these guys. And just a quick look at it, none of the gears are busted, so that's good. Wear on these gears, nothing. And like I said, this I think this might be the return spring. Not exactly sure what to call it, but as you can see, like the gasket there is ripped, and the spring was just like hanging out outside of this little hole here where it was supposed to be. I'll show you the inside of this case here. Last thing there, the King of JB Weld. Something happened right there, 'cause that's a good amount. And then so this spot right here, right on the other side, this is where we got stuff gunked up. So I'm sure it's a pretty good hole blown through there, or maybe it's just a crack. So up here is where we were getting a bunch of leaking around the Kickstarter. When the bike was running, it slowly just kind of run out of this area, and even though they just gobbed the shit out of this area with JB Weld, this is pretty much basically the entire mounting hole from, yep, it looks like right about there, cracks all the way around up to there, and it stops up in that lettering, but then we also got some small ones down this way. So that's the cause of a lot of problems. A couple of you guys have offered to send me some of these, but they are not in very good shape. I mean, this one, JB Welded, is in better shape than the ones you guys have been showing me. So no hate on you, but I'm sorry, I'm not gonna pay for those. So the assembly itself, I don't think we'll have to replace anything. However, I think it would be in our best interest to replace this inner clutch case. So I'm gonna double check real quick on Rocky Mountain ATV MC. I know they at least had one in stock, so I'll take a look. Hopefully they still got it. Okay, I just searched the internet for like 30 minutes, and all the websites, RMATV, Motorsport, and like 20 others, somehow are all now either out of these or no longer shipping. So I scoured eBay for a long time, and the only reason that I found one here is that it was like mislabeled. For some reason in the title it says it's for a different year. So the one on eBay here has scratches, scuffs, mounting holes are good, no cracks, no leaks. Banding surfaces are good. Came off a running bike. I guess if we get it, we'd have to wait and see what the bearings are like in it. That's our only option. It's the only thing that I found. It's for 90 bucks. And then obviously get a gasket for it. But all these bearings are super smooth. Everything in here is just super freaking smooth. Like I said, that crank looks like it's brand freaking new, so I don't see any type of cracks or anything in here. Yeah, so we got a couple things to replace here. All of our bolts look good aside from one that was on the power valve, so that'll need to be replaced. The gasket for the top end is decent. I do have a new spark plug just for fun. Reeds are good. The boot itself is in good condition, nothing wrong there. Just a quick cleanup. Power valve will need some new gaskets, and from the amount of freaking crap on this, I thought that there was going to be a crack on here, but there isn't. Maybe nobody wanted to buy a new gasket, so they just squirted a bunch of freaking gasket maker in there, and that's where we're at now. So everything else looks good. Rubber boot, decent. The impeller, that thing looks brand spanking new. Water pump housing, we'll have to get another gasket for it, but that looks good inside and out. So on our clutch basket, the basket itself, barely any grooving, nothing even close to being an issue. So that's nice, we won't have to dick with that. Clutch plates, I do have a new set, and everything else seems to be in good condition. I'll have to clean out the power valve. I guess we can go ahead and take some things apart, but you know, we got the usual buildup in there. Someone did just, even though there's like some good things done with this, there's a lot of freaking gasket maker and shit just crusted over everything. It's so annoying. Now I may get a little bit of hate on this as far as only doing, you know, a half engine rebuild, or, you know, not even a quarter engine rebuild, but that's the way it goes. We're trying to save money. We're not trying to do unnecessary stuff. So with the power valve, we are gonna need to get that crap and the flaps out of there, so that we can clean them, because it's pretty heavy carbon buildup. I can see on the flaps in there, and then obviously in the power valve housing. I did pop this nut loose here, so you can remove this. Difficult time getting this little washer over the threads. Alright, now we can take our stuff off. Be sure the bottom of your surface here is on something that's going to help protect it a little. And just slowly work this guy out if you can. Alright, got that guy out of there. Alright, so just like that, one of our flaps came out. It'll drop out the cylinder, and then the second one, it's up in there. You might need to play with it a little bit, and then it'll drop out of there too. So these little guys, I mean, they are gunked up. Some slight carbon buildup, and you know, I imagine, I mean, yeah, just look at that right there. I imagine this caused it to run poorly, just because it was tough just to open it up when I did do a little test ride on it. We'll have to clean these guys up later, and then clean the shaft. Now as far as the seal here goes, I'm not sure if I want to pull that out or what I'm gonna do, so I'm just gonna leave it for now until we decide. So I gave her a quick polish on the buffing wheel over there, just this one little section. Turned out pretty nice. Once we do the whole thing, it's gonna look awesome. but we got some cleaning to do. So we'll have to clean that baby up. The studs, just keeping these ones, they're in good shape. No crazy rust or anything like that, so just gonna keep those. Everything else is in good condition, so we're all set there. And then like I said, most importantly, on the inside, we're pretty much clean as can be. This is all I'm gonna get done tonight, so I'll see you tomorrow. All right, I'm back, and I just ordered up that right side case. Luckily found that one off of eBay, so we're good to go. For now, I'm gonna grab this, I'm gonna clean it up. You know, I cleaned half of it up and it looks pretty dang nice. I'm gonna clean this off and then we'll hit the buffing wheel. All right, so I got her polished up. Looking pretty good. It's gonna look really good sitting up top. We do just have to do a little bit of cleaning on the mating surfaces here, and then that carbon, we're gonna have to work on that, clean it out of here, and then the rest of the power valve. One thing we weren't able to do in the last episode is get the old swing arm bearings taken care of. So got that ordered up. Pivot Works is what I went with. Always pretty good. So we'll get this taken care of. All right, it's the good old swing arm bearings. I've kind of had this next to the heater down there to warm up a little bit. I'm gonna hit it with the torch here real quick. Just to warm it up a bit more. And then our bearings have been sitting out here in the shed, so they're pretty well cold. It's like 5 degrees out. A little bit of lube. Get it right on the inside there. That might be it right there. Bam, just like that. Both of our races in. Perfect depth. Way to go. Now we can finish them off. Oops. By adding in the rest of our parts here. And then with our rebuild, we've got washer, bearing, and then washer again. I like to do this. Got our seal. And we got that guy. Same thing, washer, touch of grease, bearing, touch of grease, top washer. And then our seal up top here. And then the seal down on the bottom side. And bam. We're all set. And then what I'm gonna do is go find the hardware for the chain slider. Found the hardware for the chain slider. Oh, it's like it's got a freaking barnacle on there. We'll have to clean these up. All right, so cleaned up our hardware here. The only issue I had was getting deep down in there to clean it out. They'll work though. And then I got some fresh hardware laying around, so that was lucky. We'll go ahead, put our brand new, I believe this is the Cheerbeast one. Hopefully it fits good. Sometimes these don't really fit up well. Hooks there on front, pops over that nicely. Looks like this one actually fits really nice. Swing arm is done. It's looking fresh. It's looking good, man. So another thing completely checked off the list. Next logical step should be our linkage here. It's in pretty decent shape. Nothing busted on it, no huge gouges or anything. I imagine the bearings were shot, but you know, we'll take a quick look. I've got a rebuild kit, so we're gonna do that anyway. And looks like bearing number 1, rusty. Alright, so there's my before. Pretty nasty. When I'm done with these things, they're gonna be looking brand spanking new. Polish these little guys up. They look pretty damn good. So now comes the crappy part, because we can't just push these bearing races out. We've got to pull them out with our bearing puller. Both those ones. And then we have to pull 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this is the only one that we get to push out. So hopefully the tusk bearing puller that we have is gonna do its job. Link for that will be down in the description too. There you go. Bearing races out just like that. Just like that. Bearing race gets busted. Once you break that sucker loose, then you can really pull that thing out of there, but it takes forever to break up that seized crap. Alright, I just did that last bearing off camera there, but now that we got all of our races out of there, all you need to do, clean up inside and then that little recessed part right there. That way when we put our new races in, you know, it's nice and clean. And now we got to get these guys out. So just a touch of lube right there, just to help this go in a little bit. And then we want that flat side, usually the side with the numbers, to be on the outside. The goal here is just to watch, make sure that everything's going in straight. And you shouldn't have any issues. So to get these ones seated, it's gonna be flush with that recessed part in there. I'll show you when I'm done. Just like that there. Bam, just like that, we are set. And then make sure that those needle bearings are seated in there, because sometimes when you push this through, you might catch on some and knock them out. Our seals. Polish it up since we've been hammering on it, reefing on it for a while. Just like that. Linkage arm. That's looking good, man. So, another part off the list. Alright, let's get the bearing races into this thing. turned out pretty epic. Everything's been replaced, polished up nice. They're ready to go back on the bike. Let's move on to the next thing. Alright, I think the last thing we might do for today is tear apart these wheels. Hopefully none of the spoke nipples are stripped out, and hopefully we can get everything loose. That's a big hope. I feel like that's probably not gonna happen, but we can hope. We got the tires off. The rim strips look like they're about 15 years old, so we'll have to replace those. And then these nipples, looks like they've been messed with at least one time before, and I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough. It is gonna be really tough. I think I'm gonna have a ton of these stripped out. Just like that. Bam. The Allen head is done for. Should I even bother with this? I mean, that's going to be a ton of extra time and money. I just don't think I'm going to do it. That kind of sucks, but is what it is. We'll go ahead, clean these up, work on these spokes just a little bit, some Scotch-Brite. We got the old wheels cleaned up. Got some fresh rubber sitting over there. Unfortunately, the rear tube, I decided to pinch that somehow while getting the tire off. Our front tube is good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna mount up these guys. Got Tusk Typhoon brake rotor, and that one, let's see, that one's gonna go on the rear. We've got the Vortex sprocket in black, that's gonna go on the rear, obviously. Mika Metal sprocket bolts, and then I think that's just a Tusk brake rotor bolt kit. So we can do that up. We can get this about 90% complete. I'll have to order a tube for the rear. I thought I had one laying around, but I don't. wheels basically all finished up. I'm just gonna have to order another part, put it on the list, a tube for the rear wheel. But you know, we kind of ran into a snag with those. Unfortunately, the freaking nipples and spokes are seized, and I mean, you may as well just drill every one of those out, cut the spokes, make your life easy. If the next guy wants to do a build on the wheels, he can, but otherwise we got some fresh hardware, sprockets, brake rotors, cleaned up everything else, the spokes, the hubs, and then, you know, put some new rubber on there. That's kind of the most important part, is getting some new rubber on there, and that way you got a super fresh bike. These tires that I went with is just a package from Kenda, a pretty decent tire for not a whole lot of money. Yeah, so those are almost finished. I'll probably just put the tube in off camera just to get that done quick. Did a lot of other stuff today, a lot of the grinding, just constant grinding today. Took apart the engine, found out the good, the not so good, and I'm just gonna leave that covered up. Luckily, our cylinder is all good to go. We don't have to worry about a single thing with that. I'll polish up a few other parts here and there. Stuff like this guy, power valve cover. I mean, it's just like got 7 different gaskets attached to it that needs to be cleaned up, stuff like that. Swing arm, that's all wrapped up. All the linkage, all wrapped up, so we're good to go. I did just put a fresh coat of that SC1 coating on the gas tank. It's looking pretty good. Might need another little scrub down just to get the best results. But our pile is getting bigger. Got a lot taken care of, and mostly the big parts. So the engine, luckily we were able to find that right crankcase cover on eBay. Anyway, we've taken care of a lot, and we've got a few other things left. The biggest thing is probably gonna be the suspension. Our forks there, and then the rear shock. Both those things seem to be in decent condition, so the build will definitely continue. We still got a lot to do, and that's if everything goes right. So I'm still chugging along. I hope you enjoyed everything today. If you could, for me, go ahead, hit that like button, give a comment down below, really helps the channel out a lot. And then obviously in the description, all the goodies there, affiliate links, and then links to Wild Moto Shop as well. So also in the last video, you guys commented, I think I was saying red bars, silver bars, or black bars. And you guys, I'd probably say like 80% of you said black bars. Red, I think, came in second, and then there might have been like one person that wanted silver. So we can always check out what the black looks like on there. I might save those red ones for my my CR125 build coming up, so that'll probably match pretty nice with it. And that CR125 build, you guys better stay tuned for that, because it's gonna get pretty crazy. That's the one to enter the Prime MX contest. You saw it, it was crashed pretty good. It's got a few issues here and there, so that should be fun. And also, if there's anybody still watching at the end here, is anybody interested in a Tacoma build? I just happened to pick up a Tacoma, and of course all that's on my mind is all of the mods that I can do to that thing. Anyway, let me know down in the comments. Once again, I appreciate all the feedback, appreciate everybody tuning in, and thank you again for watching another episode of the CR125 build. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.